Welcome back to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix, and I'm doing another daily thought. I told you I would do two today. So, yeah, here we are. I think I will probably do a quick three tarot as well. I haven't made up my mind yet. There's so many things going on, which I plan to discuss that in a few days. But during the interim, let's do this daily thought. People are afraid of the truth. That's one thing I've just noticed. Like, the more I see things in life, I'm just like, people are really afraid of the truth. There's this saying that is said a lot. People would rather believe a lie than hear the truth. And I think about the world in general, not just the United States, which is where I'm from, obviously, but also other countries too when it comes to politicians and stuff like that. Because one complaint that is usually the same throughout most countries in the world when it comes to politicians is that politicians lie. And that's pretty much true. A lot of them do. Not all, but a lot of them do. But then the question becomes, well, why do they lie so much? Why does anybody lie so much? It's because people don't want to hear the truth. People are afraid of the truth. That is why politicians lie. Because if they were to be honest with people, the people wouldn't be able to handle it. Now, some can handle the truth, but for the most part, the majority can't. And that's just what it is. You know, I had a situation, and it's kind of funny, because one of my daily thoughts back in March was, it's not gossip if you can repeat yourself. And it's so funny, because a few weeks later after that daily thought, there was an incident at my job. I mentioned it in passing during, I think, one of my readings or something else. And it was about stuff that was said. Now, I'll give you the Cliff Notes version. I won't give you the full version. So basically, I was stalked on my job by someone who is pretty much obsessed with me. That's whatever. And they went through one of the company chats that was not locked, where we were all having a conversation. They took pictures of that and took it to HR. And then there was a conversation about what was said in the chat. And it's kind of interesting because when it was brought to me, I was like, oh, okay. I wasn't worried about it either way. And quiet as it's kept, I don't worry about things too much when it comes to stuff like that, because life is life. Either it's going to go one way or it's going to go another. That's how I look at it. You know, not saying that there wouldn't have been other stuff done had it went a certain way, because that's what I have attorneys for. But everything worked out for the good. But in the midst of all of these shenanigans that were going on, I was like, well, I looked at every single message that I typed. Where's the lie? Because that, again, I'm that person where if I say something or if I write it, I can stand by it. And I meant what I said. And I said what I said. It's one of these things where it's like, okay, where's the lie? I can understand if somebody is lying, saying this and that, and, lie here, lie there, putting out fake news, as they call it these days. But there wasn't any fake news. All of it was the truth. So what do you want me to do with it? I can't help that it's the truth. So once it was all said and done, like I said, it worked out. But that's one thing I noticed. Like, if you want a room to get quiet and something is being discussed and somebody's upset with what was said, ask the question, where is the lie? And I promise you, it will be like the rapture happened, where you won't hear anything. Because you can't say anything when it's the truth. You just can't. It always throws people off. But at the same time, people don't want to hear the truth. They rather believe a lie. And I'm just not like that. I rather hear the truth, even if it hurts. I told you, one of my coworkers said something to me, and she threw me off for a second, but I was like, okay, I understand where she's coming from. And I respect her for always telling the truth. Just like yesterday, we were having a conversation about something, and she's like, I don't even care right now. Because she was in her own zone, and she's so honest and funny. Her bluntness is so funny. But I appreciate people like that will just tell you how they feel. And it would be nice to get people more in that energy than this fake stuff that everyone is doing now. And I'm not saying don't be polite to people. And I'm not saying, that you have to just go at people. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that it doesn't hurt to be honest with people and let them know how you really feel. Again, I'm not saying go at people. There's a way to do things. Trust me. If I really wanted to go at someone where I'm like, okay, I'm going to make sure I want to make sure they cry when I say what I say. That's a different type of energy. It's rare I'm in that energy. Could I be? Yeah, we all can be. You can have a conversation with someone and bring something to someone's attention without tearing them down. You can do that. You can bring something to someone's attention without tearing them down. There's a difference between telling the truth and tearing someone down. Now, I'm going to keep it 100. The conversations that were had from that incident that I was talking about, yeah, it was kind of tearing a certain person down, but at the same time, they've been trying to tear me down for the past 2 years now. They've tried to minimize all of my work. They've tried to dim my light to make their light shine because they are so insecure. So it's like, whatever. Okay, fine. Let's keep it 100. And even the stuff that I said in there was very tame compared to what I could say. So again, I'm not saying tear people down. I'm just saying be more honest about where you're coming from and how you feel when you're dealing with something. There's a way to do things. But also, I've noticed, and I don't know if it's been these full moons or these eclipses or whatever that's been happening. But when I tell you, my energy has been so different where it's just like, look, I can't. I'm not dealing with it. That's been my energy. Where it's like, okay, this is what it is. And hey, we can take it from there. But yeah, people are just afraid of the truth. I don't know. It's this world that we in. And these days, that's another thing too, which is why, by the way, my other podcast is coming. I've already created everything. I just haven't decided on the format, which is what I'm going to be thinking about in Mercury retrograde. It's like I already had everything. I even started doing some tweets on it and all types of other stuff. But that podcast, which you can go to it if you want, I already have it on Twitter, is NAH Podcast. I think that's the Twitter handle. I have to look it up again. NAH Podcast on Twitter, which is no apologies here. Because one thing about apologies, I can't stand apologies. My longtime listeners, my Firebirds, you already know how I feel about apologies. My new listeners, I don't like apologies. One of my favorite quotes, which is usually in Asian dramas, is if apologies fixed everything, we wouldn't need laws or policemen. So usually when somebody brings me an apology, I'm just kind of like, whatever. I go by actions, is what I go by. Just like with the words, they're great. I go by your actions. You can tell me you love me all day long and that you rock with me all day long. But what are your actions saying? Which that's another thing that I've dealt with on my job. You have people who tell me, oh, you're so great, this. Okay, but what are your actions saying? Because I don't really care what you're saying. Because what you're saying and what your actions are two different things. That's why I'm cool with my direct supervisor now. because she tells me certain things, but also her actions show that she really cares. And because her actions are showing that, her and I are on good terms. Now, that can change at any time because life is life. However, right now, we're on good terms, and I feel like we will be for a while because we have some similarities where we like to get things done. We like to bring out the best in people. We're not competing against each other. It's just we want the best for the company that we work for. That's how we move. So, going back to the actions thing with the apologies stuff, because that's what people do. They come in with apologies and it's just like, okay, but your actions are still saying something else. Bring me the truth. Don't be afraid of the truth. The truth can only help you. And yeah, it can be inconvenient at times. I don't want to say inconvenient truth per se, because that whole thing, don't even get me started on that. Didn't that man say it was going to be 10 years and then something was going to happen? It hadn't it been like 20 now or something, whatever. I don't know. All I know is that whatever he said was supposed to be happening, it didn't happen. I feel this has been going on since I've been in elementary school. But I'm not even going to go into that right now. I'll save that for the other podcast. I digress. So, sometimes, yeah, truth isn't always the most comfortable thing. At the same time, you are so much more free when you walk in your truth. That's why I don't have many cares when it comes to certain things, especially things that I say. Because when I say something, it is my truth. And usually my truth is the truth. Period. It just is. And people can say, okay, so you got an ego. Yeah, I do have an ego. I've already confirmed that with you. At the same time, I'm also a realist too. I see things for what they are. So if I see something that's true and I verbalize it, then that's what it is. It's the truth. So, yeah, you will be a lot more free. Some people, they lie because they're insecure. And their insecurity, the reason with the lie as related to the insecurity, they're afraid of what people will think about them. They're afraid that people will judge them. And see, that's where the problem comes in too, as well. Where people can judge all day long. Just like I could walk out that door because the sun is out right now. I could walk outside my door, stand on my patio, and cuss the sun out. I could do that. However, will it really change anything? Or will the sun still be the sun? Do you see where I'm going with this? Where if I go outside right now and just cuss the sun out, I can stand outside until the sun goes down and the moon shows up. I can cuss the sun out all day. I'm pretty sure the sun will rise tomorrow. Pretty sure. We don't take any day for granted here, but pretty sure the sun will rise tomorrow. Me cussing out that sun the day before, what did it change? Absolutely nothing. That is how I feel about judgment. When people judge you, what does it change? Yeah, it might affect your reputation and all that other stuff, but really, what does it change? The sun is still the sun. Whether you love it, whether you hate it, whether you praise it, whether you curse it. The sun is still the sun. So, when it comes to people and they're judging, let them judge. The sun will still be the sun. It's okay to live your truth. It's okay to tell the truth. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth. If somebody does not like what you say, or if somebody doesn't agree with what you say, that's on them. That's a them problem. That's what they have to live with. Now, if somebody wants to have a debate and discuss ideas, that's great too. Maybe you'll learn something new and you'll change what you're saying. Who knows? Or maybe they'll learn something new and they'll change what they're saying. But how can you even get to that point if nobody can tell the truth? If everybody's afraid of the truth, how do you have a starting point? If everybody is in lies or in fiction, how do you even have a starting point when one person is in one reality and another person is in another reality and nobody is speaking their truth? So if both parties speak their truth, you have a starting point. Then you can have the discussion to figure out, okay, what is true? Where are you coming from? Where am I coming from? People are afraid of the truth. And maybe they're afraid of the truth because they don't want to have the discussion. Because, again, the truth can be uncomfortable. Maybe they're just like, no, I don't want to face this right now. I don't want to have this conversation right now. Is that how you want to live your entire life? Where anytime something makes you uncomfortable, you don't want to talk about it? Okay, well, that makes you pretty easy to move aside or manipulate, because if I want to have my way, I could just bring up something that you don't want to talk about. And then I know you won't say much. Okay. So, yeah, it's just, the truth isn't a bad thing. The truth is a freeing thing. Imagine, if you think about it, just sit and think about it. Imagine how free you would feel if you spoke your truth on a regular basis. Imagine how free you would feel if you spoke your truth on a regular basis. The people who lie, and I'm sure, like, maybe everybody who listens to my podcast is an honest person. I don't know. You can tell me. Feel free to hit me up on Twitter. You can tell me. But for those who lie are those who know people who lie. Imagine how much easier their life would be if they told the truth, where they don't have to keep track of the lies that they tell. That's one reason why I sleep so good at night, unless I have to wake up to go to the bathroom. But other than that, I sleep good at night. Because I'm not out telling lies all the time. I'm telling the truth. So I sleep good. I don't have to remember what I said to somebody, even though I usually do remember what I say. But I don't have to. If I forgot about it, I wouldn't even be worried about it. Because it's like, okay, well, somebody brings it up. Yeah, that sounds like something I would say, but where was the lie? And then, of course, it's going to be crickets, as usual. So, yeah, people are afraid of the truth. I guess my thing is, don't be one of those people. Don't be one of those people who's afraid of the truth. Be one of those people who not only wants the truth, but also speaks the truth. And that is my daily thought. kirwkc.com, main podcasting platform. Until next time, everyone, be blessed.